In this lecture, we're going to add the weapon to our animated character. So to do that, we need to figure out what part of the character we should attach the weapon to. The weapon itself is inside of the Steve folder. There's another folder in there called Weapon. If you open it up, you'll find there's a prefab called Terraformer Weapon A _ 1P. Okay, so this is a weapon, and if you click on it, you can actually see what it looks like over in the inspector, and it's from one of Unity's own projects. So we're going to attach that weapon to our character. We don't have to animate the weapon because the character is animated. So parts of the character actually move. So if we make the weapon a child, the weapon is going to move appropriately. The hardest thing about this is actually aligning the weapon with the character. Now, when the character is about to shoot, he has the trigger part of the weapon in his right hand and his left hand is outstretched. So we want to actually attach the weapon to the right hand. Also, you would have noticed in the reload sequence that it's the left hand that actually leaves the weapon and it's the right hand that still holds onto it. Okay, so we need to dig around in the hierarchy of our character. So come over to your hierarchy, drop it down, and we're looking for our Steve character, and then we're opening that up. You're going to find the parts of the mesh, and if you click on them, you've got body, gloves, and he's got a top. The actual part of your character that's moving is called a rig. And a rig is basically just the skeleton inside of a model, and the rig moves, so each of the joints move just like our skeletons do, and the meshes act like our skin. They just move with it. So we need to find the right arm and in fact the right hand. So we're going to have to go down the spine in this case, and we'll keep going down the spine and down the right shoulder, right arm, right forearm, until we get to the right hand. Okay, so now that you've got the right hand, we're going to attach the weapon to it. So with the weapon prefab visible down here in the project, we're going to drag and drop that first of all into the scene. You can now see it quite clearly there. And now I'm going to drag and drop it onto the right hand. Make sure it's the right hand that it's attached to, not all of the finger parts that you can see there. So it will be on the same level of the hierarchy as all of the fingers. Now if we go into here, into the scene view, and just have a look at that, you can see where the weapon is, which looks great. I mean, if he were to fold his arms around into a holding rifle pose, that would be really good because it would almost fit around that weapon. However, if we now press play in this particular state, you'll see that the weapon moves relative to his arms. And let's use the F key to bring our arms up. Now you can see that the weapon in the scene is actually facing up. So that's actually not going to work for us. We need to attach this weapon to his right hand. Okay, so first of all, we can just zero everything to do with the weapons transform, and you'll see very quickly that the weapon now snaps over to his right hand. And from there, okay, it's still not quite where you'd want it to be. In this particular T-pose for the character, it's difficult to tell where you might want the weapon to be, and in fact you need the character to be in a better pose, such as, holding the rifle in idle mode, to get it in the right spot. So for that, we're going to now press play. Then we're going to use the F key to bring up our hands. Okay, so we see that there. Now hit escape, and we will go up and press pause so that we can't move it. Now it's your job to actually rotate this weapon around while it's still attached to the right hand to get it into the right spot. So pause the video now, go off and try and manipulate that weapon into the correct spot. when we come back, I'll give you my values that I've come up with. Okay, so I'm going to start by rotating it around this way and then that way. And it takes a fair bit of dexterity as far as using a 3D package to get this rifle in the right spot. Okay, doesn't look too bad. Now, that was the E key moving that around. Now, let's just hit the W key to actually move it around a bit more. And now we're going to hit the E key again just to tilt it down into there. Hit the W key to move it down. And just going to have to see, you can see his thumb is still sticking out here. Now, this particular model and this particular weapon were not designed together. So they're from completely different package sets, and therefore actually getting them perfect might not be possible, but you will get them kind of close enough. So that is not too bad. Let me just maybe move it up a little bit and forward so his finger's closer to that trigger, which means you then probably just need to rotate it down a little bit. Hit the E key and just to position it. Okay, that's about where I'm going to leave it. Let me just move that across again so that end of the gun is in his hand. Okay, so that's where I've got it. Now, remember, as soon as you stop pressing play, it's going to forget all of that information. So we need to take a lot of note of what my transform is over here. So these are the values that you need to put inside of the transform for your weapon when it is attached to the right hand. Now what I'm going to do is copy these values so I can put them back in here. So let me bring that in, click on the little dots and copy component. Now we'll stop playing. The gun's going to go back to where it was previously, and now let's select that weapon again, click on the little dots and paste component values. And now the gun looks like that when it's in his hands. And when we press play and hit the F key, we get the gun in the position. And when we shoot, we also get the gun moving with the shot, because it's the animations that are moving the rig of your character. The gun is attached to the rig. It's a child. And so it's going to go everywhere that your character goes. Like that. Okay, so it's a fiddly process, but it's well worth it when you get it going. Especially in the case if you're like us here, where you've got like a weapon model from one location, such as Unity's modelers, and you've got a character model from somewhere else, which in this case is MixerMo. So if you're not a modeler, this is the kind of things that you need to deal with in positioning things in your games. Okay, now I just mentioned MixerMo, and you'll see that there's this mixer origin type thing name for all of the rig of the character. MixerMo is a fantastic source where you can get free animations and free characters. Not for commercial use, but it is a great resource if you're not a modeler and you do want to have some great looking games and things and work with animation a lot. You'll need a free Adobe login, which you can register for on the website, and then once you get in, you can select a character and put an animation on them and then download that for Unity. If you're interested in looking deeper into how MixerMo can work for you with Unity, I have tutorials on my YouTube channel that you can go and have a look at, and they might help you actually put more features into your first person character for later on. Okay, in the next lecture, we're going to come back and finish off the animations for our character so that we can transition into a walking animation and then go back to idle as well.